Welcome to our continuing YouTube video series on making better YouTube videos. My name's Christopher Neufeld, and this particular video, we're going to be discussing why you should maybe consider shifting from active videos to using stills within your videos. Now, what am I talking about here? Well, first of all, let's look at the dynamics of a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of YouTube videos that are designed and rely upon live activity. They're not focused on conferring information. Instead, they want to confer motion, imagery, and all the things that go into that. Whether it's sporting events, it is music videos, it's filming of nature, it's filming of people's activities. Those kind of videos really need the activity. But then we got a whole other section of YouTube videos. And I would call those YouTube videos information-focused YouTube videos. And what their intent is to communicate and convey information. The live action part of it is not critical to the actual video. The fact that you have talking heads that are actually moving their lips and focusing on the camera is not absolutely critical. And why do I say that? Well, let's look at how people view YouTube videos. A lot of YouTube videos are actually not viewed on a large computer screen. Instead, what often happens for information-based YouTube videos is they might be watched on a cell phone. So where you have a mechanic demonstrating how to do something from a mechanical perspective, that might well need the benefit of visuals. And hence you look at the YouTube video intensely and focus on it as the person is communicating the information. However, if someone is talking about how to file your taxes or how to understand a tax component, that aspect does not necessarily require you to follow any visuals other than possibly specific words and information in a still setting. And this is what differentiates the kinds of videos that I'm talking about, where what you're trying to do is communicate information without the need for any ancillary activity. And another aspect of this is people often are listening to it in the background. So they're listening to your YouTube video more as an audio presentation. So they may be using alternate screens to actually view stuff. And the video that you have from YouTube and that you've created is actually going on in the background, and nobody's really looking to pay attention because there isn't the specific need to pay attention. They're looking to gain the information, gain the insights that you're trying to communicate, but not try to, like, say, I want to look at how the professor looks. I want to look at how the professional looks. I want to look at how the storyteller looks. That may not well be consequential to 95%, if not more, of your viewers, well, your YouTube interactive participants, let's call them maybe. Instead, they're focused on the words that are being communicated. And if anything, as I said before, they might well be looking at the still words that you emphasize on the screen. So given this, let's look now and see what happens when you start to focus on the visual and the activity and do it poorly. You can see from the clips that we're playing right now that you've got this a bad, unprofessional presentation. And you know what actually happens in those circumstances? You spend an excessive amount of time trying to perfect that visual appearance, trying to get it conveyed, and you never get around to it. The fact of the matter is, a lot of us are not really supermodels out there. Or we don't have extensive setups to do significant filmings of videos. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to communicate information. We're not trying to make a Hollywood production. But by focusing on the active video element, we can take a 5-minute video and we can spend days working on that, trying to get it perfected, as opposed to focusing on the communication of the information. So instead, we get bad lighting, bad setups. We get people operating from offices with bad backgrounds and looking not necessarily the best themselves. And on top of this, and this is a critical aspect, if you're going to want to spend some time and actually focus on communicating specific words and phrases, you have a horrible, horrible background off which to work. You cannot effectively present those words. So let's now shift to 3 different ideas that you can have with respect to using still imagery in your videos because you're focusing on communicating information. Now, the first aspect that you can do is you can completely obviate any use of words and simply use still pictures. Whether it's a still picture of yourself that's cleanly designed and laid on top of a very solid background, that may well be an option for yourself. Or you may have just a rolling background and you have at the same time, you have a clear and concise title, focusing your attention on what you are talking about, and you're not really doing all that much greater than that. At the same time, you could also use quality video, but not necessarily of yourself, something that is professionally done and designed in the background. But we're not going to really focus on that so much in this particular video. So we could take the still imagery and use that. The alternative, number 2, is to actually use a clear or consistent background with nothing much else on it, and then just provide specific wording and information, phrases that are critical to what you are communicating at the audio level. So while you're communicating on the audio side, you're looking to reinforce what your objective is by laying out those specific words and phrases. And the third is sort of a combination of the first 2. So instead of, let's say, using a solid white or black background and simply punching out the words, what you might look to utilize is a clear and open background, as we see on the screen, an image of yourself so that the person sees who they are engaging with, but it's a clear, highly detailed, very precise image. And then as the video proceeds, you then, in the space that is available for clear communication of your wording and your phraseology and the information that you wanted to communicate to your audience, that is where you place your wording and you change it throughout the course of your video. So in that way, you are effectively communicating, for example, that you are a real substantial person, a professional, a professor, whomever it may be. So they get the sense that there is somebody there, but it's clean, it's concise, it's focused, and at the same time, it creates appropriate and adequate space and professional positioning very simply, very easily, such that you can then have the remaining space to effectively put forward your wording. And you get to determine the spacing that's involved. In many respects, this provides for a very clean and concise video presentation. It looks very professional, it's very efficient, And you're not wasting time on trying to get this perfect Hollywood setup that most people seem to want to focus on, and it doesn't really affect any additional benefit to yourself. If anything, it consists of a distraction that deters your audience from actually seeing what they want to see. And what they want to see is they want to see clarity, focus, professionalism. If the key information that you want to get across, whether it's simply through the title or it's through a series of bullet points that reinforce the information that you are putting forward. And that is your focus. And that is what is communicated off to your audience. So I think in that way, at least in my opinion, you get the most out of your YouTube videos, get them done effectively and in a timely manner without having the need to go through this whole Hollywood process, which unfortunately is not of any real substantive benefit to you. All it does is it dissuades people from doing more videos, communicating more information, and having the success they're really aiming for with the creation of YouTube videos that are focused on the conferral of information, where that information is not requiring some live action component to it. So hopefully that has provided you with some insights into what I believe can more effectively assist you in creating YouTube videos that are highly beneficial to your communicating the message that you want to create, whether it's from a teaching standpoint or from a professional business standpoint, that you're able to communicate the information you want to create, and you do it while focusing on the information and not being distracted and being dissuaded by having to create some Hollywood production every time you're creating a YouTube video, which is not what your audience necessarily wants. That is not what your objective should be, although people fall into the trap of going there. So hopefully this video has been informative and beneficial to yourself. If you have any tips or suggestions, please do not hesitate to contact myself. And we wish you the best with the creation of your own YouTube videos. Thank you.